Alex Poatan Pereira is the UFC's latest double champion, and the Brazilian with thunder in his left hand does not seem to be slowing down anytime soon. From the favelas to a salubrious rivalry with one Israel Adesanya, all the way to UFC gold, this is everything you may or may not know about Alex Pereira. Strap in for the Poatan Iceberg video. Tier 1 Early Life. Alex Sandro Silva Pereira was born on the 7th of July 1987. Born in the slums of Brazil, Alex Pereira had little expectations for his life. Impoverished and destitute, Pereira was destined to become little more than a speck in the vast extremities of human existence. Dropping out of school when he was only 11 in order to help provide for his family, he got a job working in a tyre shop. As a child, Alex worked 10 hours a day in a dead-end tyre-changing job, simply attempting to make ends meet. Isolated from peers due to a lack of friends, he found himself socialising with only adults from the shop where he worked. Unfortunately, these adults coped with their daily challenges by frequently drinking on the job, setting a less than ideal example for the impressionable young boy. Under this influence, Alex succumbed to peer pressure and by the age of 16 was consuming a daily concoction of a bottle of rum and several beers. This unhealthy lifestyle led to involvement in numerous bar and street fights. Misguided perceptions of masculinity fueled his actions. Realizing that this path would only lead to a young and impoverished demise, Alex, now 21, resolved to make a change. Opting for kickboxing, he faced initial struggles. Despite his potential, some individuals at the fighting gym were hesitant to accept him due to financial constraints. His coach intervened, negotiating a scholarship to accommodate Alex's financial limitations. As the gym fees exceeded his earnings at the tyre shop, Alex's coach noted that during the initial training period, he consumed a daily litre of white rum, known as casa. When lacking this, he resorted to adding alcohol to his coffee. This marked the beginning of Alex's journey to escape a destructive lifestyle and pursue a future in kickboxing, where his coach saw the potential for greatness if he committed to the necessary hard work. Tier 2 Kickboxing Career. Kickboxing played a pivotal role in reshaping Pereira's life, potentially saving it. The turning point came in 2014, a bout against Dustin Jacoby, where Pereira clinched victory in the Glory Middleweight Contender Tournament with a devastating knockout, advancing to the Contender Tournament final in 2016. He faced the now former two-time middleweight champion of the world, Israel Adesanya. Who had yet to enter MMA. At the Glory of Heroes event in China, Adesanya boasted an impressive kickboxing record of 75 wins and 5 losses, whilst Pereira, with only 13 professional fights, lacked a significant winning streak. Famously, Pereira scraped a narrow points victory over Adesanya, many of whom called the fight a robbery. Due to the controversial nature of the decision, the rematch was booked in late 2017. The fight saw Adesanya dominating the initial rounds due to his superior speed. However, Pereira, known for his resilience and iron chin, turned the tide in the third round. Notably, this marked Adesanya's first career knockout. Subsequently, Adesanya transitioned to MMA in 2018, launching Pereira's reign in kickboxing. He secured the Glory middleweight title by defeating Simon Marcus in 2018 and defended it 5 times before claiming the Glory interim light heavyweight title in 2019. In January 2021, he defeated the former light heavyweight champion, becoming the first and only fighter in Glory history to concurrently hold 2 belts. Despite his kickboxing success, Pereira faced financial constraints as the sport lacked the popularity of MMA. Meanwhile, Adesanya soared to fame and wealth within the UFC and the middleweight division, solidifying his status as the premier striker. The man who had once knocked out Adesanya found himself struggling for a living, despite being quite possibly the best striker on earth at the time, highlighting the contrasting paths their careers had taken. Tier 3. Just some guy in a pub. The then middleweight contender Israel Adesanya had some less than favourable words towards Pereira, calling him out and discrediting his successful kickboxing career.
Same guy now he watches all my fights, and every time I fight, like clockwork, he'll try and put something out like, I beat this guy. But I've never ever watched any of his fights, ever. So at the end of the day, no one knows who the f he is, and he's gonna be that guy when I'm world champion, when I'm a legend. He's gonna be at some pub, talking some shit about, I beat that guy one time, trying to get a dick sucked from a crack whore or some shit.
This spearheaded Pereira's transition into MMA and marked the next chapter in their poetic rivalry.
We want to be free. We want to be free to do what we want to do. We want to be free to ride.
Tier 4. MMA career. Making his professional MMA debut in 2015, Pereira faced numerous challenges, losing his first bout via submission, and learning that MMA was a whole new ballgame. He quickly showcased his potential, with victories at Jungle Fight FC, earning recognition as a skilled fighter, and a professional record of just 4 wins and 1 loss. He signed with the UFC in September 2021, marking his promotional debut with an impressive win via flying knee KO. Against Andreas Michailidis at UFC 268, securing a Performance of the Night award. Climbing the middleweight rankings, he faced current middleweight champion Sean Strickland, dismantling his Philly shell style and knocking him out in the first round. In a spectacular turn of events, and after just a handful of fights, Pereira faced Adesanya for the UFC middleweight championship at UFC 281. Israel Adesanya, who had already lapped the division, was an active and dominant champion who was favoured to win the fight. But this story wouldn't be complete without an upset, and incredibly, Alex Poatan Pereira emerged victorious with a technical knockout in the 5th round, earning yet another Performance of the Night bonus. The fight mirrored their second kickboxing match heavily, with Pereira losing the former rounds, getting rocked and almost finished early, only to come back in the last round to secure a Rocky movie-esque finish. The immediate rematch was scheduled, with spectacular build-up. The match sold an obscene amount of pay-per-views, revitalising the dying middleweight division, which has slipped into boredom under the dominant reign of the last stylebender. The rematch with Adesanya at UFC 287 did not go in his favour, losing via brutal KO in the 2nd round, and the loss, whilst devastating, only motivated him to take on a new challenge, leading to the announcement that he would move up to light heavyweight in April 2023. Tier 5, the world's biggest troll. In a hilarious turn of events, Pereira continued his dismantling of Adesanya's legacy. Whilst the middleweight champion sat pretty once more on top of the world, Poatan moved up and did what Izzy could never do, defeating Jan Blachowicz in a close 3-round #1 contender fight at Salt Lake City. Fending off the takedowns and outstriking the crafty former champion, Pereira took the victory. Later that year, he faced former light heavyweight champion of the world Jiří Procházka. And became just the 9th 2-division champion in the UFC by knocking out the very impressive Jiří to claim the light heavyweight title, doing what the last dog bender could never do. Double champ in under 10 fights. Truly an amazing feat. Alex also started to connect with his indigenous heritage, being a descendant of the Paksto tribe, with the aim of bringing back the spirit of his ancestors by getting involved with tribal traditions. The name Poatan which in his native language means hands of stone, was gifted to him by his native tribe, because as an amateur fighter he won 25 matches, all via knockout. He has a tattoo on his left hand which pays homage to his nickname and frightening power. Tier 7. Family. Going deeper, it is a little known fact that Pereira has a sister who competes in kickboxing. Elaine Silva Pereira, born 1990, is a Brazilian mixed martial artist and former kickboxer, currently competing in the flyweight division of the LFA. She is a one-time Glory Super Bantamweight title challenger, having fought Tiffany Van Soest for it in 2021. Alex Pereira sadly lost his brother due to crimes in the favela in which they grew up. Little is known about the death, but is yet another harrowing story from his early days, making the UFC legend's story all that more inspiring. Everybody likes the story of an underdog, somebody out of the ordinary. An unlikely success story that comes once in a lifetime. Somebody who makes history. This is that story.